Ask the superintendent to lead us in invocation and pledge.
If you'll bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, as we come to you today, we're so thankful for being able to come here today and meet. We're thankful for the joyous occasion that follows this meeting today. Lord, we pray for a special blessing. We know that we have people that are coming in new to our district and those that have been with us and been loyal. We appreciate all of them, and we ask for a special blessing over them and our students as we get ready to kick off. Lord, I pray for the safety every day of all of our students and our staff. And Lord, we thank you for the blessing of being here in Levy County. We ask all these things in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
If you'll address the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Cowart.
Yes, sir.
Is there any addition or corrections to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chairman.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. We'd like to welcome all of our visitors this morning, and this would be time for public comment if anybody wanted to address the board. Seeing none, we'll keep moving along. We have this morning an event we have time certain that we have to be at, and so we're going to get our business taken care of, but move along. Ms. Hires, we'll move into item 4, personnel. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Board, Superintendent, guest. Each year we bring to you a revised edition of our Professional Learning Catalog, formerly known as our Master In-Service Plan. This contains current in-service and professional learning components aligned with the Florida Educator Accomplished Practices, as we call the FEAPS, needed for teachers to receive certification points for renewing professional certificates. The catalog is now 786 pages long, so you can find that on the NEFECT website. NEFECT serves as a conduit for information for the Florida Department of Education regarding mandated changes to components included in the Professional Learning Catalog and works with districts to implement new legislation. The catalog is updated annually and is provided electronically to all of the members of the NEFECT districts. NEFECT also develops and updates endorsement plans for athletic coaching, autism spectrum disorder, English for speakers of other languages, the gifted program, pre-K disabilities, and reading. I have included a document in your files there showing the new revisions or additions to the catalog, and I'm asking for your approval of these revisions today. Are there any questions? Your document would look like this.
Is there any questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the changes to the NEFECT Professional Learning Catalog.
Yes.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
All right. Do you want me to go ahead with the next?
Yes,
Okay.
teacher.
I have some friends with me today. As you know, Board, for the past 3 or 4 years, our whole conversation has been on improving the recruitment and retention rates of highly qualified teachers in Levy County. I am thrilled today to be introducing our first district-wide teacher mentors, and we are confident that they are going to help us in this mission. Cecily Smith and Lauren Whitehurst. Both are highly effective teachers with strong instructional backgrounds. Through the help of Mandy Smith and Jerry Ford, monies were written into the ARP for these positions, and Mandy has worked very closely with us, organizing, training over the summer. She is very much a part of this, and I just want to recognize her today and say thank you for all of her hard work behind the scenes that nobody sees, and I appreciate that so much. As the percentage of teachers grew, coming from a non-educational background, we knew that additional support was very, very necessary. Our goal is to focus on supporting teachers on temporary certificates with all the requirements necessary to obtain their professional certificates in that 3-year period. 65% of their time will be spent in the classroom, 35% of their time doing the paperwork and things that are mandated by the state for us to document. So we are anticipating great results, and we're just getting started in this venture. We are kind of going, we're in contact with Putnam County. They've done this and seen great results. So we're looking forward to some great things. Are there any questions?
Will y'all be traveling to each different school on the downtime? Great. I think that's awesome.
We'll be making contact every week with our new teachers and helping them work through these different tasks and tests and requirements, answering questions, supporting and developing very strong relationships with them so they will never want to leave our district.
That's great.
Now, will you be in the classroom, your own classroom, or this is the only position?
They are going to be eventually located right here, but right now they're at BES in the blue room. But they're going to be in the classrooms for the teachers.
So their purpose is to be there to be able to support teachers, to help with lesson planning, classroom management, kind of be there. So as you know, as Ms. Hires talked about, our alternative cycle of certification of people coming is growing across the state of Florida. The number of education backgrounds coming from out of universities is dwindling. So you have people that it's either second careers or they got a degree other than education. So that's part of their process. And all of those positions that we've created through ARP, these 2 positions, plus Tanya Taylor's position, which is a mentoring type position through AVID. So, and then along with Michelle Ruiz and Heather Rollins, so in literacy and math science, those group of teachers right there. So being able to go back and support our people in the classroom. So as we can retain people instead of having to go out and recruit new ones. So
5 years ago, we had maybe 3 or 4 PDCP teachers. Last year, we had 63. Just to tell you how much that's grown.
Now, do they still, new teachers in that particular school, do they still get that mentor that?
The campus mentor?
The
Yes.
campus mentor?
So it'll be like a double layer.
Double
And that's
layer.
required by statute.
Right. That's awesome.
All right, any questions?
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. Do ladies want to say anything?
I'm here, excited to get started.
Good. Thank you. Move to item 5, Ms. Lake. Be the proposed budget for 22 and 23.
Good morning.
good morning.
Morning.
I'm going to move through this rather quickly, so if anybody has any questions, just stop me. Normally, I go a little bit back over the budget workshop, but I've saved some of that information for the tentative millage, so I'll go into a little more detail at that point. So today, we're talking about a proposed budget. This is one of the first dates in the timeline for TRIM that we have to meet. We have to present the board our proposed budget by July 24th. And we have to have ads run by the 29th. They're set to run the 28th. And then, of course, we need to adopt our tentative millage and budget. And we'll do that on the August 2nd at 6 p.m. This budget is based on the second calculation with the RLE, required local effort number that just dropped this week. BSA, it has increased by $214.49. It's just a reminder that with the district cost differential, we have an increase of $156.37. We don't get the full benefit of the $214.49. We have not that quick. We have an estimated increase in flexible funds. Flexible funds would be the growth in your base student allocation times your weighted funded student population, or FTE. And then I also pulled in some of our more flexible categoricals. sparsity. There's a couple categoricals that are more flexible than others. So looking at those, we've seen a growth of $2,477,000. This includes an increase in local funding, which is derived from that RLE and the increase in property values of about $650,000. Does not include capital. Capital is growing about $600,000 as well. But the funds we need to implement the $15 an hour, which we have already implemented, thank you, and increase in benefits, increase in FRS, and we have some new instructional positions in this budget due to growth. We are eroding about a little over 1.3 million of that 2.4. We also are seeing an increase in scholarships from 2.3 in 2021 to now 2.96 estimated for this year. That's a growth of a little over 600,000. And then this budget has some increased costs due to inflation that's very easy for me to see when I look at transportation growth and I look at custodial growth. There is some hidden inflation in that budget, and I'll get to that in a minute, but after we account for all of that, that 2.4 has dwindled down to a little over 150,000. All right, this is our certification of school taxable value. This is where the RLE is so important. We're able to use that millage rate and determine what our local revenue will be. So it's a little over 9 million based on the millage rate. Capital is increasing, like I said, a little over 600,000 to 4 million. And then our discretionary operating, so the RLE and discretionary operating hit the general fund. Those two combined are about 650,000 more than last year. We will be proposing a tax increase again this year, but the tax increase is due to the value of the houses, the market, not due to an increase in taxes.
That's actually the rollback rate, correct?
Correct. The RLE is required local effort. The rollback rate is inserted to keep us at the same tax level from year to year. All right, here we're looking at just the general fund revenue sources. So federal, we're showing an increase of 33%. That is Medicaid revenues were lower this year. They, just as with everything, they were taking an incredibly long time to file our claims and get the benefit of the revenue. So that variance is just due to us anticipating Medicaid reimbursements increasing. There's no big federal increase other than that. State sources, the 5% is, again, that's the FEFP and some other little grants embedded in there. This is only general fund, so that federal does not include our federal monies. Local sources, that's the in part the increase, the 650 increase from the local tax dollars, and then the rest of it again are some other little funding sources that we get. We anticipate some growth in there. The transfers have declined. That decline you're seeing is due to ESSER funds. So we were receiving ESSER funds to offset instructional materials. There's certain ESSER dollars that were coming into the general fund, and that is slowly starting to decline, and that is all that is reflecting. And then the other funding sources, that is just when we have an accident and get an insurance claim. So, can you back up 1 second? One thing I wanted to point out, you'll see here that our revenue sources are 49 million, 49.1. When you look at the budget summary ad, you're going to see it higher. So what happens with scholarships, I have to reflect the scholarships as a revenue item, and I have to reflect it as an expenditure item. But in order not to skew my variances as I'm talking to the board, I have removed them from the revenue and I have removed them from the expenditures. So that's going to be the difference between what I'm presenting here if you were to go back and look at the budget summary ad and wonder why. The variance is confusing, so I just remove it from our discussions. All right, so this is just a pie graph of our revenue sources, and it's no surprise, 70% of our funding comes from state sources and 26% from local. It stays pretty consistent there. All right, again, we're just looking at the general fund, and again, scholarships have been removed from this portion of the presentation. We are looking at a salary increase of 6%. You're seeing a reflection of teacher salary increase allocation anticipated. I know what that particular allocation is. It's embedded in there, as well as the $15 an hour growth, and as well as any new positions. So we have a 6% growth there. Benefits are growing by 4%. That would include the increase in the FRS. Purchase services, that's where we're seeing a lot. Between purchase services and materials and supplies, we're seeing growth. Purchase services is coming from contracted services because we're having to fill the need for employee positions we can't fill in certain classifications. SLP, social worker, mental health, those areas. So we continue to have to use contractors for that. Materials and supplies sort of speaks for itself. That's where you're seeing a lot of your custodial, you're seeing a lot of those increases there. There is some roll forward in that materials and supplies too that is skewing it slightly. And roll forward is when we know, when we want to budget our assigned fund balance. So for example, your schoolhouse budgets do not spend out all their budget. They may want to save it, but I need to budget it from year to year, and so it is impacting the assigned fund balance in that context, but you're seeing it here and it probably will not all be expended. So this budget is showing a $770, almost $71,000 deficit, but when you factor in those items I know are going to be reducing the assigned fund balance, it's about $744,000. This budget, as it's written, has about a $27,000 overall deficit, which is where the 151 comes in, and I can see that has been scooped up and used for some of these cost escalations that are embedded in the budget. It's not as easy for me to identify. We're seeing it across the board. Maintenance told me there was a part they buy that used to be $40, now it's $108, so we're just kind of seeing it across the board. Does anybody have any questions?
Just the 09, the transfers,
Yes.
that makes up, there was nothing in 21, 22?
Correct. We budget every year. That transfer reflects the permanent transfer to self-insurance. That's all that line is.
Okay.
That's a transfer coming out of the general fund. We had to do that 2 or 3 years in a row. Since then, we have always budgeted for that transfer in anticipation. This year it's higher because I was going to put it in this meeting. I didn't. I'll put it in the tentative, and you'll kind of see where we are with the CARES monies, and as that starts to go away, what we're seeing with our claims. So we are anticipating having to make either a permanent transfer to our self-insurance. If not, what happens is you get a budget amendment in February or March after our actuary, thank you, reviews the numbers, and if we have a sufficient balance, savings balance, then we will do a budget amendment and reduce that.
Okay, thank you.
This is just the same information, but presented to you visually so you can kind of see the growth over the last 3 fiscal years. What's been difficult in building this budget is COVID. There's an impact of COVID that has made this very difficult. You see travel, a lot of things were suppressed the last 2 years that I see coming back up in this budget. Travel is starting to happen again, and so you're starting to see that recovery from COVID in terms of activities. All right, this is breaking down the objects contained within that general fund budget to show you how the board is spending the money. So the majority of the money, as usual, 77% of it is going to employee salaries and benefits. And then purchase services, you can kind of see how those funds are being spent. Does anybody have any questions? All right, this is our capital budget. The state sources would be the remainder of our special facilities funding that's coming in. The local sources are monies that we have, LCIF is what we call that, and it's different funds, so it's not just this year's. We have some delinquent funds that we pull into. Transfers in is just reflecting the moving of funds to those special facilities from other funding sources. And you can see our expenditures and our transfers out. Anybody, I didn't go in, I'll go into a little bit more with that. We do, this is our third year, we will have to, this is under the statute to pay back the 1.5 mil. So to date, we have repaid 4.4 million of 11.2. So we'll continue to budget repayment for that.
That'd be over a 3-year period.
No, they don't give us a certain timeline. They just tell us those 3 years is the amount you owe, and you have to budget up to a certain amount to repay, but they don't put a timeline on how long it can take you to repay. So,
Is there any chance they can call it good?
Not at this time. So,
We can.
there was a lot of conversation. It somewhat fell on deaf ears that those were federal dollars that were used to pay out the last 2 years of the 3-year funding cycle. But no, not at this time. And that's, that 11 million totals 4.5 mils is what the repayment, so that's why they've given a little bit of flexibility with that. The issue is that, you know, you're not eligible to go back into special facilities, not that we would be back there, so, because I know Ms. Lake would have a heart attack if we were trying, so, but eventually we will have some needs that we'll need to look at here in the district, so, but that'll give us some time to pay off what we owe back and also plan, so, because it was very razor thin margins. DOE, as gracious as they are, there was a timing where we were getting cash strapped in November and needing to make sure that we had enough to pay our bills to Paris McCall and also meet salaries for them. So we did make it, but there was a time where it was touch and go where we thought we were going to need to go out to a bridge loan to get us through the crunch just because of the timing of the back and forth between DOE and the legislature and what they wanted on some things. So.
The last 2 years of our special facility funding is backed by federal funding from the state, so that changed a little bit. If there was ever a COVID blessing, it was 2 years, receiving access to 2 years in one. That really helped with the timing of this.
Just so that I'm in my own mind, because I know the timing of it, but of 11 million of that, part of that's still the Williston School, is that correct?
No, that's
It's
been
all
paid off.
Chiefland.
It's all Chiefland, because it's based on 2021, 21-22, and 22-23 LCIF, the 1.5 mil that I just displayed from local tax. We were able to satisfy Williston's in that 3-year window. You don't technically pay it back. What you do is you leave the money out there and you don't draw it down. This time, I'm not sure, it may be a combination of both. There may be a little left and then pay back, or we may just have to literally pay it all back. What we've paid back now that I tell you we've paid back, it's money we've put into the school. We did not give it to DOE. We've had to put that cash into the building of the school, which is the same difference. Okay, this is our debt service. We have racetrack and we have COPS, and this is the same that you see every year, same amounts. All right, this is food service. These are estimated. We have not closed our books yet, so you'll see with the final, when I present the final in September, some of these things will change. But so we have budgeted revenues of almost 5 million, expenditures of a little over 5 million, and ending fund balance of almost 2.4. Federal budget, so here would include any of your ESSER, CARES, ARP, and then your traditional federal Title I budgets. The revenues and expenditures always match because we expend before we can draw the revenue. And these are pretty high because they do still include 2 years, I believe, in ARP and 1 year in maybe ESSER.
Kim, if I'm correct, you take the federal funding, local, state funding, that's gonna put the total budget about 79 million.
Even more when you get to it's about 126 because we still have we still have
Special
self-insurance.
facilities. Okay, I'm sorry.
Self-insurance.
I had a, I'm sorry.
So last is self-insurance. This is where we pay the claims and recognize the revenue or the premiums that are paid by our staff. You'll see the transfers in, 200,000 equals the transfer out from the general fund. Again, if we don't have to do that, that will be adjusted in a budget amendment. But we're looking at 9.5 million in total revenues, including the fund balance.
Are the insurance claims starting to drop a little bit
So-
now that we're kind of getting past the COVID?
We're cautiously optimistic.
It is, I've run those numbers from 2019 pre-COVID. Again, you can't account for whatever illnesses were happening at the time that were beyond COVID. We are not back to pre-COVID, but we're better than we were last year.
Okay.
And we haven't done a full year though. We've only got 6 months of this year to compare.
Right.
So far.
We did not see the decline that we had hoped
No.
to see. We were hoping that we had saw.
What we think is there's just going to be a new normal after COVID. It's never going to be pre-COVID, but we'll find what that new normal is.
It'll just take us a couple of years
Yeah.
to see, figure it out.
So now I'm getting into the 3 ads that you're going to approve today. So this is the notice of proposed tax increase. Again, we have to show it as a tax increase. You can read through this. I don't want to read it to you, but this is standard. This is how Department of Revenue makes us write the ad, and it shows the time for the first of the 2 public hearings on August 2nd to discuss the tentative budget. The second ad is the budget summary, which includes all those funds, and it's 127.3 million total. And finally, it is the language for how we will spend the 1.5 mil or the capital outlay. This is pretty standard. It's the same thing we do from year to year. The one change we did is we usually had a purchase of 5 school buses. We changed it to 6. Not sure if we'll be able to purchase 6, but due to the bus accident in Yankeetown, that forces a 6th bus needing to be purchased. And that
When it
was the only
says
change.
6 on here, do we have to purchase 6 or up to 6?
We don't have to purchase any, but
Okay.
if it said 5 and I purchased 6, I would be in violation.
Right,
The
okay.
public needs to know exactly how we're gonna spend the money. Yep. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions, Ms. Lake?
No, sir.
If not, we need a motion to advertise, correct?
Correct.
I'll make a motion to advertise the budget as is, as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Yes, second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the advertise as printed, notice of proposed property tax, excuse me, notice of proposed tax increase and notice of tax for school capital outlay and the budget summary ad, correct? Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Lake. That looked very simple.
Thank you.
I know you did that work in a half a day, right?
Right.
All right. Board members at this time, so item 6.1 is the opportunity for us to adopt policies that we've been advertising, and they've been out there. You will notice that item 6 on that, 5.41, we're deleting that one because we're going to advertise another policy in the next agenda item. So at this time, I would entertain, so we'll be asking for a motion from the chair, so.
So that policy, the illness is just being changed, it's just been.
That policy, we're going to roll it into 5.17, which is student injury, and combine the two, so language that will be up at 7.1 for permission to advertise.
Okay. And have we had any comments or any discussion or any questions, sent to the county office about any of our changes to our policies?
With removing that one, no.
Okay.
Bless you.
Okay, so we're looking at item 7.1,
6.1 right now is for
6.1.
adoption, so yes,
6.1. So
we're asking for a motion.
a motion to
adopt.
adopt policies changes.
Yes, sir.
I make the motion to adopt.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the changes and amendments to our school board policies as listed. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Now we're at 7.1.
And now we're at 7.1, yes, sir. So, as you know, we're coming through between NEFAC and statutes being signed, so or bills being signed into statute by the governor. So you'll see here, so going through these right now, so this would be asking permission to advertise. So, and I'll go through here. The first is 3.06, safe and secure schools. The only one that you can see that there's been any is in red, which is that 5.17 language. And once again, this is for permission to advertise these out there, and would give us time to make any changes, the board, or any comments that we see from the public. So.
Okay, 7.1 is school board policies to advertise. The request is that to be put out for advertisement for public and board input over. We'll have three
Yes,
of those
sir.
readings.
Make the motion to advertise.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we put the advertisement our school board policies, or 7.1. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Moving on, as you know, we were needing to get a new sign, and you can see there we've got the estimate. So if you combine those two, the masonry work from Jones and the B4, so for a total of, I believe it's $7,560 is what the total would be. So to replace our sign that we've unfortunately had an accident, so we have received insurance funds on that would cover a portion of that. So
That would basically look the same as the sign we had before, brick.
yes, sir. So it will look like this right here. So it's a 60-inch by 40. So with a brick base and 2 brick columns. So.
And then with the insurance, basically our out-of-pocket is the $560, because that took care of the brick.
No. So
We received $5,500 in insurance because we have a $1,000 deductible. And then when we sent in our estimates, they took the lower of the 2 estimates, so, which was $6,500 originally.
So it's going to be about $2,000 out of pocket expense.
yes.
So we had other quotes that we sent in, and is that what we did? How did we send in the lower? I'm not.
We sent in the 2 that we had originally.
We had to send insurance, asked us to get 2 quotes, so unfortunately, the lower of the quote, they did not want to bid on. They gave us a quote, but they did not want the work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where I'm a little unclear there. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we've talked about the sign for several months now, and we're back to making it look basically just like we had before,
Yes, sir.
before our accident.
Yes, sir.
So we're at the point, what's the pleasure of the group?
I make a motion to approve our estimates and the quotes that we've received.
Okay.
I would say it's a lot better than what we looked at before, so I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to proceed with our 2 quotes for the construction of the sign and the masonry work. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
All right, we're also at the time, so where we go back out for our FSBA advocacy liaison, which used to be the policy and legislative liaison, so they just changed the name to advocacy. So Ms. Boyle served in that post this past year, so I'm looking to,
For a nominee.
yes, sir.
I'll open the floor for nominations for advocacy.
I will say, if you don't think anyone else wants it, or we want to wait till Miss Clemenzi gets back and Mr. Asbell, but I'd be more than happy to sit there again. I think I've made a little bit of an impact and built some relationships with a lot of them, and I just think that it just continues forward. So, but that's all I wanted to
I
say.
agree that being there, you need the experience, so I'm going to nominate Ms. Boyle to continue in that position.
Hearing no other nominations, floor for nominations to be ceased,
Okay.
and by general consent, Ms. Bolt, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that position for us. And on that.
I know we're missing 2, but from our board today, so, and Ms. Clemenzi unfortunately woke up with a fever and congested, so, and Mr. Asbell was out with Carson, his son, having a 3rd surgery, so we do need an alternate too, so I don't know if anybody wants to.
I'll be happy to do alternate.
I make a motion that we accept the alternate as Mrs. Brookins.
So it's open and closed nominations. Ms. Brookins, no further nominations. Congratulations as being alternate.
No, Tammy will not miss, so I'm happy to do that.
Never say never.
Also, I know we're a little bit ahead of the schedule, so, but just went ahead and put it on here to go ahead and get that because that will be coming up. So Value Adjustment Board, so we're looking for that also, so.
I nominate Cameron Asbell as the Value Adjustment Board member.
Do I hear any other nominations?
I will keep it if he doesn't want it when he gets back here, or be an alternate.
Very good. All right. No other nominations. By general consent, Mr. Asbell will be the nominee for the Value Adjustments Board this year, and then we'll need an alternate.
I'll nominate Tammy Bull for alternate.
Any more nominations? This seems like a formality, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No more nominations. Congratulations, Ms. Boyle. You'll be the alternate to the Value Adjustments Board, if I can say that. Okay.
Moving on, so a couple months ago, so you may have seen an article, and I was contacted, so we have Miss Lisa Daniels here, so who is with Lark, so, and the issue, as you can kind of look through some of the backup information there is, back in the early 80s, so this board gave that property to LARC to be used to serve the citizens of Levy County, and for the goodwill of those citizens that there's not a great, they don't have funding sources, and so you can look through the property, you can see that the 10,000 square foot building, which used to be the old Otter Creek School, so it was in very great disrepair, so, and the ability to use that property, especially that building, has diminished. So their goal is to try and find a more centrally located, closer to Bronson area, to service the needs of those students And I say students because they do provide them life skills and provide them some education while they're there. So, but you can kind of go through. So I had the opportunity a couple weeks ago to tour the building. So it is in disrepair. Mr. Delaney is searching for an avenue to help us go through the process to basically remove ourselves off of that deed, because there is a reverter clause that says if they cease to use it for 12 months, it reverts back to us. So I don't believe the will of the board that gave that property was that they were wanting it back. You can kind of see the costs that go through. It needs about $70,000 worth of flooring. It has 2 operating AC units out of the 5. They're so old that the 3 people that they've called as far as AC contractors to come out won't work on them. So it's on its last leg. It would be a cost to the district. So I know I had hoped we had our full board today to make this decision. That's why I didn't put it on for the 27th, because I knew we had people out there. Counselor, can I share a conversation from Mr. Asbell? Is that?
Sure. Not how he would vote or what his intention would be, but just feedback that you've gotten. And can I add one other thing? The entire building would need to be rewired.
Yes, sir.
As well.
Yes, sir. So, yeah.
And that's
And
probably.
there's no heat at all. The heat is having to be disconnected due to.
We're still on glass fuses.
You can, so I've had the opportunity to work on a fuse box that has glass fuses, so, and just know and looking back at what we've gone through with other buildings and having some experience with the foundation on taking properties like that and the expenses. So that's why I'm bringing this to you. I think it would be advantageous for us that we figure out a way to declare that this is surplus, or what we need to do, that the property is solely LARC's. So that's what I'm bringing to you guys. Miss Lisa, if you want to speak to anything else, if I haven't sufficiently covered it. So I think there's a $6,000 quote for termites, because the building has termites. So you can see $70,000 in flooring, a whole rewiring, 3 new AC units. I mean, the costs start to add up with taking that property over. So
And so it looks like the recommendation eventually that would come to the board would just be to sign a quitclaim deed to say whatever property ownership at all that the district had in this property, or future interest in the property, should it not be operated by LARC, the district is stepping back from that and disavowing that. So we wouldn't have, the reverter clause wouldn't bring it back onto our books when it could very well, looks like it would cost us more than the value of the building, and then there would be maintenance and upkeep obligations until we could even declare a surplus and get it sold.
This would free up the deed where Mark could do what you need to do to sell the property to move.
They're gonna
to
sell it.
surplus.
Our goal is to, the county commissioners are on board. They're willing to give us 5 acres in Bronson, and whatever we can get from this property, use that as seed money to help us build a new building on this 5 acres. And the county commissioners are going to help us with a budget increase on the other part of the building. So we're not wanting to close or abandon it, we're just trying to relocate to keep the art going.
So the building would be auctioned off once, are you in there now?
Yes, ma'am.
Currently? So it would be,
We are using like 3,000 square feet of 10,000.
so then the quitclaim deed is done, and then you would auction the property and the building
We would.
to get that
it would be
seed?
theirs
do.
to sell it. The one thing that I've asked Miss Lisa to do, which has been a problem here lately, is to get an appraisal. So she's reached out to 2 different realtors.
Yes.
And that's a very common thing with the amount of real estate transactions going on right now, to get somebody that will nail down will come and give them. So that's why I included the property appraisers. But yes, so basically, it would say our interest on the, once, if we could get the reverter clause gone with just the quit claim, it would be Lark's property. Lark could use that to sell it however they deem fit, to use it as seed money to build a building on the property that they would be donated from the county.
Is this immediate? I mean, can we wait until we have a full board, or is it an immediate action?
So with everybody not being here,
Yes,
so,
sir.
and we don't have a clear path, so this is just information for you all. So, we've just, it's not as easy as we thought of just, hey, doing this, so, but we were just trying to make sure, because the other thing with this is making sure, you know, we had an issue where we had guidance on a path for another piece of property that we donated to the foundation, and then that came back. So I think that's one of the reasons in showing you the costs associated with it, that even though if that property did come back to the district and we sold it, deemed it as surplus, it's a net, we're gonna be costing ourselves money when you look at the upgrades and things that we
Right,
need.
right.
So that's why.
So I'm just thinking about the board as a whole.
Yes.
That's all.
We are, the county commissioners are actually trying to find us a temporary location because the building is so bad, to get us out until we get a final answer from you guys and we can move forward.
Especially with the heat that we've been suffering through. We've already had one client that's had to go to the hospital due to the heat in there. It's that bad. The air conditioners just cannot keep up with it, what we have. You can walk through one part of the building and you'll almost fall down. The heat is that
Radiating.
intense. It is.
And I think the county commissioners have a little piece of property.
They do.
Are they going
their
to
job.
put that in,
Yes.
do you think?
I do believe so from what it sounds from our meetings, but they haven't said 100%.
And to answer your question, we have 12 months from the time that Lark stops using the property. So it's not a decision that has to be made today.
Yes, okay.
But it
The
is-
only issue with that is they're hoping to sell the property to use that seed money to build their new building. So that is part of the time frame. So, but yes, the goal, the reason why I put it today was because I thought we were going to have a full board with everybody and just the circumstances changed, you know.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
With the whole scenario where I do believe that it was not intended, that it not ever come back to us beginning. And then the other part of it is from a business standpoint, as a board member, I don't want the liability or the financial responsibility of it whole. And I know we don't have a full board here, but our decision being delayed delays the whole process and what Lark's trying to do, when it's really, to me, the whole decision's a no-brainer, in my opinion. Knowing the other two board members and not have talked to them, I think they would financially say that it would be a relief to the board not to own the property. So,
I will speak to
am I wrong that if we took action today, that it would help speed this process up?
Yes, sir, very much so.
Okay.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. That's what I was going to ask. It is, we can do a quick claim deed and we're okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then that's,
Right.
I understand that, and that's going to delay the process if we don't go ahead and vote on it. And it is on our agenda to do that.
And we have a quorum, and we certainly could do that. So what I would say is the board could vote to give direction to execute the quitclaim deed. I can get that prepared, and we can make that happen prior to the
And
next
that'll
meeting.
come back before the board.
Right.
Right, okay, good. Well, then I make the motion to go ahead and execute the quitclaim deed and let's move this forward.
Okay.
I'll second.
Right. It's been moved and seconded that we execute the quitclaim deed to help expedite the
Thank
Lark.
you so much.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you all for what you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Yeah,
for what you
do a
do.
great job.
Okay. Ms. Hanlon is going to come and talk to us about, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm fighting my way through this new agenda electronically. The Comprehensive Student Progression Plan. You're up.
Every year, we need to edit or add any additions to the comprehensive student progression plan in relation to new mandates or any work that we've done over the summer. So you will see the strike-throughs in the document that we edited, as well as in red, we did any additions. At the next board meeting, I was going to bring to you some of our work for this second grade report card, standards-based report card, but you will see that in the pupil progression plan. The addition of new verbiage related to the second grade standards-based report card. We brought the kindergarten teachers in for 1 day of revisions, the first grade teachers in for 1 day of revisions, and we had a whole week with second grade teachers, participants from individual schools were present to create the second grade report card, standards-based report card. We're really proud of all the work that they've done. So that was a big addition in there, as well as changing some of the verbiage in relation to the Florida standards being changed to best, and the verbiage just saying and reflecting that, as well as the verbiage for requirements for graduation and promotion for good cause, not good cause, but for promotion for third grade. So with that being said, is there any questions in relation to anything that was adjusted in the pupil progression plan?
So that I could just, I'm an acronym. So our new one's going to be what is it going to be called now?
We have the best standards.
Best. So it's not the NGSSS.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And really, in relation to that, I mean, we reflect it as best, but some of the assessments that we still give, like science, is still next gen standards and GSSS, but instead of saying all the different ones that are changing, because they may end up changing science standards, we don't know yet, they're just calling them Florida standards. So all of those adjustments were made in there. We did add a section on MTSS, multi-tiered system of supports this year. So Ms. Rollins, Ms. Ruiz, Ms. McElroy, myself, Mr. Lott, I'll probably forget somebody, Marcy Young, Dr. Hall, thank you, have all updated everything in that pupil progression plan in relation to ESE, as well as ESOL is also in there. So there is a new graduation, some of the state statute language that changed for ESOL in particular. If a student has been in the country less than 2 years, the old languages, they would have to pass the FSA and ELA to graduate. So they've put in some language where we can determine as a district what we can use to determine their passing of those standards instead of passing the FSA or the new assessment for graduation. So with that, I submitted a letter to the state assessment office and added that they will be able to be assessing them on their benchmark assessments in school, as well as using IXL data as a measure, and finally using their Access for L's, WIDA, also known as scores for graduation requirement. So that was a big addition into the ESOL language.
And the scholarship program, I see that change, that combined now too.
Yes. Some of these things in here, I don't know if, and we were talking about this as a team, some of these things in here don't necessarily have to be all written out because state statute. This needs to be pertaining more to, we have a lot more cleanup work to do in here as far as we can take a lot of that state statute language out because we're going to follow state statute anyway, but this pertaining more to our district policies and requirements for students.
Just from all knowledge, I mean, this falls in line with NEFAC.
Yes, sir.
It's only 90 pages. I'm sure y'all did it in a day or two period, correct?
It was a team effort.
Team effort, yes.
And thank you to Sherry Tyndale
People
for
don't know.
formatting everything.
People have no idea. I'm not going to how much work goes on behind the scenes to make these documents and the things and working orders that, I mean, they have no idea.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
The myth or the fallacy that some are, we're
Yes,
off on
yeah,
vacation.
yeah, at the beach.
So, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think we need to make a motion.
Yes, it's an action item. I
Okay,
just.
thank you.
I just want to
Just
say
double
thank you
checking.
before we-
Absolutely, absolutely. I just want to make sure I was right.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Make the motion to approve our comprehension student plan with the changes.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Our work was a lot quicker. I'm getting there, boss. It's not on that piece of paper I check off, so I'm trying to. Item 13, approval of the minutes from the June 27th meeting. Any addition or corrections?
No, Mr. Chairman.
I make a motion to approve the minutes
Second.
of June 27th.
It's been moved and seconded. Seeing no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Our consent agenda. Ms. Bowl, do you have any questions, addition, anything with the consent agenda?
No, Mr. Chair, Mr. Powers and I spoke, and just, I know how hard Ms. Hires and the team are working to see 1 through, it keeps 53. We'll miss some folks, some teachers, and wish the best to those coming in. All my other questions have been answered.
Okay, Ms. Brooks?
My questions have been answered. I'm sad to see some of our teachers that are leaving, and I'm excited about, new changes and the things that are all happening. And I know Ms. Hirsch, you're working really hard right now. A lot of changes. How many positions do we have still open?
We have currently, we still have instructional positions, 28. We have 2 schools that are totally full.
And which schools are those?
So that would be Williston Elementary and Chiefland Middle High School. And the others, I'll tell you, the principals, the whole team is working, trying to find. There's a shortage of teachers actually nationwide, but that doesn't help us. So
We've been very proactive, so we're advertising on Indeed, so obviously multiple Facebook posts, but lots of different social media avenues. And then also we're starting in talks to other avenues where we can maybe contract out, so to have all these filled.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Okay, other than all the activities listed, whether that's our employees that are going for continued education around the state or our students that are doing summer activities, FFA and football and all of the good things, volleyball, we're just a few weeks away
Yes, sir.
from starting it all over again. We can quit talking about what we're going to do and go do it. Right. So I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, Mr. Chair.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Consent agenda passes. We have that at 15. Okay, so we have,
Finance, break that into finance and personnel type, so yes, sir. We need to,
okay,
Number 15.
item 15, the consent agenda finance items. Are there any questions on the finance? We've never done this in 2 different motions before.
It's new.
it's new with board docs, yes, sir.
Okay.
Make a
Okay.
motion to approve our finance items.
I'll second. Ms. Lake answered during her presentation the budget summaries that are here.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we pass the item 15.1 finance under the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Mr. Superintendent's comments?
Yes, sir. So had a great admin meeting on Monday with all of our administrators. So it'll be coming up. We'll be fully staffed there. So we hired the last 2 APs with Chief Linnell, Ms. Hoover, and Bronson Middle High School, Garrett Jones. So Ms. Hoover had been with us at Williston L and left for a year to go as the behavior coach / dean at Meadowbrook Elementary, and Mr. Jones comes to us from Oakview in Newberry, where he had been a dean. So excited for those, and also excited for Ms. Bray, a Bronson Eagle graduate. I'll speak for Mr. Asbell, so that I know he would be excited that we promoted within the ranks somebody that's homegrown. So it is busy time, and appreciate your comments and your recognizing that, Mr. Etheridge. And today is an exciting day with what we have coming up. We try and do this once about 60 to 70 years, and we try and do it well, and excited for that. So we do have another admin meeting to kind of clean up all the things that we didn't get to on last Monday, but also start digging into our state data, which we'll be bringing to you guys at an upcoming board meeting to kind of go through that. So was happy to see that overall district-wide we attained a B, and we're on our way to an A, so district-wide. So we'll keep working, and that's definitely through the hard work of our teachers and our students in the classroom. So excited for that, and I'll yield any other time. So one last thing I will say is had the opportunity to go to Williston yesterday and see the football team and them getting ready to start workouts and work out, and people that were donating their time. So Mr. Etheridge there on the griddle, so hot griddle early in the morning, creating so huge pancakes for those boys, and I think they had somewhere between 65, 70 kids there yesterday. So just really good to see people loving on our kids, feeding their bellies, feeding their minds, and putting some muscles on them. So it's just really nice to see that, and also to see the thank yous and just using good manners and some things that go beyond the football field. So appreciate it, that.
Is that all you're going to say about Williston? Did you forget Chiefland?
Well, I thought that you would do that, so I was going to do that.
You
So
didn't leave that to Brad to talk about, so I'll let you go ahead and continue. Mr.
So
Howard.
I will share, not to steal Miss Brookins' thunder. I was kind of going to leave that to her. So it's been really nice to see the things outside of the scope, things like Chiefland Middle High School going over and working a farm share, and also doing some nursery gardening work, so putting in some new plants. So I think that was really, really nice to see that. And then their team building experience of being able to go to the river, so, and had the opportunity to go down there, and several different parents and just friends of the program carting people up and down the river, so to let them have a good team building experience, and then finish it off with a good burger at the treasure camp, so with Ms. Brookins.
And I sweated on the grill too.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So, but I think the greatest thing that we can see is we know that wins and losses are great, but building young men and young ladies is what we're all about, and we want quality individuals when they leave us. We want them to go be productive citizens, and I believe we've got people in place. So I'm excited to see and get to know the new football coach in Bronson, and see what they're going to do for have all three of those schools having a good quality product and doing well, so for the school year. Because as I talked yesterday, all of them have the ability to be leaders on our campus and to kind of help. So looking forward to that. So.
Ms. Walls, would you like to make board comments?
Just in keeping with the district grade, I congratulate Cedar Key School. They fell in at an A. I know their points went from 62% up to 69%. So that's exciting for them. They've been working hard down there. The First Methodist Church reached out and purchased all the school supplies for the entire elementary.
Wow, that's nice.
Which is huge. It's huge. It's a tiny school, but that still is a big amount, and it's very appreciated. And looking forward to the ribbon cutting next, and I know ready for the school year to start. Looking forward to seeing the kids again a lot, and keeping Mr. Asbell and his family in my prayers daily as well. And that's all I have.
Ms. Brooks?
Summer activities are really a lot for our school district, and it is recognized how hard everybody does work and everything that's going into it, because it's not a vacation in the summertime. It's a lot going on. It was super exciting to see the team building spirit with those students the other day when they came down for just to share experiences and work together, and the new coach and the parents and just the total community support was great. So I really love seeing that. Sometimes we're just out of touch with that, and it's really nice to see. So that was a great experience, and excited for this new adventure with our new school, and look forward to everyone coming today for our ribbon cutting for Chiefland.
I'm going to make sure we're not late getting there. We've had a good meeting, and I won't expound a lot other than I think there's a lot of good things that's going on in our county, and they don't happen by accident. We got a lot of administrators in schools and the superintendent who's pushed that we excel in areas all over campus and off campus and extracurricular activities. It doesn't happen without a focus put on it, and I appreciate that, because we're starting to see, Ms. Brookins, and like you were just talking about, we're starting to see some of those things happen. I got to travel with the football team last week to Georgia to a 2-day camp, and we saw some, not a lot elaborate on a lot, but the things that need to happen in life that are beyond just football, and those things happen because they're mentored by good people and they're guided, and I appreciate the work that's been done all across the county now to make sure that that's, and it's fun to watch. We sit here in expulsion hearings and hear about the bad, and there's a lot of good. There's a ton of good. And I love to pick up Facebook and see kids standing in front of, we're going to do August the 2nd, the backpack deal at Wilson City Hall where the kids come in. There's just a lot of that, and to see our kids, I'm going to say it, back doing those things again like we should have always been doing is a breath of fresh air, and seeing kids holding doors for people and saying thank you for what they're, and we appreciate what you're doing, and all those things that are taught mannerisms. It's good to see it. It's good to see it. And I'm excited about going today to Chiefland. I did wear just a hint of blue.
You did.
Just a touch of blue. But no, it's exciting. It's hard to imagine. This was a dream just a few years ago, and now it's reality, and the kids are going to get to benefit from it. So, and this will be good. So,
I did have a text from Mr. Asbell, and he just once again thanks you all for his patience. So Carson did have his 3rd surgery. They do go back next week, and he just appreciates you all and apologizes for his absence. So Ms. Clemenzi was very apologetic. She hated that she was missing today, especially with how important, and we know we don't build these schools every day, so it is a very monumentous occasion, and she asked to please forgive her for waking up sick. So
you can tell her that the 3-member board is very efficient. And we made our time certain.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further items of business? Seeing none, meeting adjourned. It's not executive, is it?